Welcome to Duo Chat with Brittany
and Cynthia, where we talk about drama shows
like Dawson's Creek, One Tree Hill, and more. Hi everyone, I'm Brittany.
And I'm Cynthia.
And today we're talking about Season 3, Episode 12, titled I've Got Dreams to Remember, air date January 25th, 2006, and the synopsis is
Keith is arrested as suspect for the arson attempt on Dan. The kids get counseling about choosing a college. Nathan and Haley make up but have chosen colleges 3,000 miles apart. Brooke believes Rachel deliberately entered her for the New York fashion contest because it's the same day as the cheerleaders' high day, the classic. Mal's feelings were hurt by Brooke, so he goes to the game with Rachel. And then because Nathan missed his political science class, Coach benches him just when the talent scout is present. So we start off with...
Oh, did you like this episode?
I don't know. It was okay, I guess.
I hated it.
Yeah.
I told you, the back and forth
Yeah.
was just too... I hate when shows do this.
Yeah,
and One Tree Hill does it a lot, but it just drove me nuts. You barely even got into a scene, and boom, you're taken out. I'm like, I can't. This is why none of it I cared about.
Yeah. And then we start off with Haley first, but then we find out it was a dream because Haley said that she's looking at Stanford. The counselor laughs at her and calls her Failey because she's failed everything.
Her marriage, friendship.
Yeah. And then, Haley tells the counselor it's enough for business, and then the counselor says that she failed the HCM test too, and Haley says she didn't, and the counselor corrects herself to that Haley actually failed the friendship test by letting Lucas play basketball with his serious heart condition. And then that's when the door behind Haley flies open to show Lucas on a stretcher being resuscitated by Dr. Dan and Tim, the nurse.
Okay, they bring Tim back just for this scene.
Yeah, a dream too.
Really?
Yeah.
I was like, how? And also, why is Dan...
Probably because, Dan's been messing with Haley lately, so that's probably why he popped up in there. I don't know why Tim's there, but yeah.
I'm like, randomly, Tim and Dan. Okay.
Yeah, but Lucas flatlines, and then Tim annoys Dan by saying, like he did with Nathan, by saying something unnecessary, like he 86.
And the Dan goes, just say he flatlined.
Then he tells Haley she's next. And then the door shuts, and Haley's woken up by the counselor, saying she's next to see her. And then, just like the dream, she asks Haley what school she's looking at, and Haley, stutters saying it, because she's wondering if she's still, still dreaming. But the counselor says
that's a great school for you.
Because in the dream, she laughed at her, so Haley sighs with a relief. And the counselor asks if she's alright, because she seems sketchy, which segues to Keith being interrogated to where he says he's fine. He loves sleeping in jail cells.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. The whole Keith in jail just made me laugh. Like, honestly, I could care about I could care less about the rest of it. But he was the only fun part in it. You didn't like it?
No, I did. It seemed out of character for him, though, the way he was acting like that. But yeah, it was so funny.
I know, but it was... I needed something in this episode to keep me watching. And it was like, can we just go to Keith's scenes? Because I could care less about this mumbo jumbo college. Every show has to do a whole college thing.
Yeah.
I hate it.
That's what I said in Drama Queens, too.
No, but I've said it on Dawson's Creek. Yeah. The OC does it. I don't like it.
Whoa.
Because I hate it because, like I said on Dawson's Creek, they can sit there and say, I'm going to California, I'm going to New York, I'm going to Boston, you're all going to end up in the same goddamn place because that's the only way the show is going to move forward. Otherwise, the show is, done. So, I mean, I get One Tree Hill because it jumps, but again, I still don't care because guess what? We never see them in college. So let's just not do a whole freaking episode on it. It goes on too long.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting how we found at least what Haley and Nathan were going to do. Because they're a married couple, so that would be the one, for two people that we would need to know what they're doing.
Because when you think about it, I mean, the one thing that One Tree Hill did perfectly that, like, Dawson's Creek didn't. Um, and probably even the OC, I would say. Um, so what One Tree Hill did different, or the right was that um we know by now where, like, what each character is interested in.
Mm-hmm.
Because remember on Dawson's Creek, we're like, what exactly? The only person we really knew what they were gonna do was Dawson. And remember, we said by season 4, we definitely should have known what they were all gonna do.
Right.
And this is season 3, and we know what all of them are good at.
Yeah.
And you can tell what their interests are. So, like Brooke, fashion. Well, we know where she's gonna go for that. New York. That kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't really need a whole episode on it because we already know what they're good at. We know what, schools there are for, these programs. So it's like, we don't need a whole episode on it. I could see like 1 or 2 scenes talking about it, like the future. But that's it. Not the whole episode.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all the shows. We don't need a whole episode. Just a couple scenes and that's it. Because again, you're pressuring kids to go to college.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to go to college, you don't have to. There's other trade schools. So I don't like when TV shows pressure kids that you have to go.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're going to make a whole episode on you need to go.
Right.
No. So,
Mm-hmm.
why is it every TV show, all their characters, it's like they go to college? The only one that didn't was Dawson's Creek because Pacey couldn't get in.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, they all force their characters to go. And it's like, not one of them is really?
Mm-hmm.
I don't get it. Because some don't go.
Oh, Rachel probably doesn't.
Yeah, but she's not a
Main
cast, and she hasn't really been there.
Mm-hmm.
Because we can say Mouth isn't a main cast, but he's been there since episode 1.
Right.
So, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just feel like they should make some characters on TV shows not go. Because then it's more realistic to
Mm-hmm.
kids.
Yeah.
And I think then you could do a college episode, or not even college, but just like a future episode of like, what are you going to do with the rest of your life?
Mm-hmm.
Which I still laugh at when they say that kind of crap. Because who even knows what you're going to do tomorrow? Because everything changes.
Mm-hmm.
You can't plan anything.
Right.
I mean, when people say, "Well, what's your 5-year goal? What's your 10-year goal?" I don't even know what I'm doing tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and again, even though if you plan 5 years, it's not gonna happen the way you planned it.
Right.
Seriously?
Mm-hmm.
That's why I laugh when people say that. I'm like, why do people even say that? It's a waste of their breath. So that's why I'm like, even the lady here says that. The counselor here says that. She's like, so what are your plans? And it's like, I don't. That's why I liked when Brooke said, after high school, I'm going to cheer practice. It's like, exactly. You
Yeah.
can't plan what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Just ask Dan.
Yeah. Because Ellie, pressures Peyton to go.
Mm-hmm.
By that
Yeah, because
whole
she didn't want to go.
yeah, saying like she doesn't know why people that can go don't or whatever. So
Because you don't have to.
mm-hmm.
You can do other things.
Yeah. Yeah. So in the station, Keith is being interrogated, and the cops saying we have the tape. We know you're buying liquor, and we know you have a gun. And Keith sarcastically says, "Oh my God, was Dan shot?"
That was funny.
Yeah. And then it just you're thinking too in real life you wouldn't be able to talk like this with the cop. He would
No, but that's why it was funny.
Yeah, he would be sent back to his jail cell immediately. And then Keith's like, oh yeah, it was the fire that happened to Dan.
Well, yeah, that was like, oh, he goes, oh yeah, that was right. That's right. It was a fire. It's like, God.
And then Lucas and Karen are waiting for Keith outside the station. Karen tells Lucas, to go to school. She'll call him later. So let him know what's going on with Keith. But Lucas doesn't want to leave. It's important. And Karen tells him his future is important because he has that meeting with the guidance counselor today about college. And then that's when Dan comes walking up saying, Lucas wouldn't want to miss that because Keith didn't go to college and look where he ended up.
Yeah, because of Dan.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
What? That's why I like when Karen was like, "What the hell's wrong with you? He's your brother."
Mm-hmm.
It was funny.
And Dan said that someone should try telling him that before he tried to light him on fire. But he doesn't know that he's wrong about that yet, so that's why it's too late.
I liked when Lucas was like, he had nothing to do with it, and then Dan was like, "Were you there?" It's like,
yeah.
You do realize he saved your life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he just didn't have to mess with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Karen tells Lucas to go to school and don't waste his breath on Dan. Because Dan tells her that she's wasting more time than that.
Mm-hmm.
And Lucas, gets in Dan's face now. And Dan tells him that he doesn't want her to get hurt before the big game tomorrow. The scouts are going to be there.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Does he Nathan?
Yeah.
My God, jackass.
Mm-hmm. And then he tells Karen and Lucas that he has to go because he doesn't want to be late for the Keith show. And then continues to say in today's episode, Keith Scott learns if you play with fire, you're going to get burned. And walks inside the station. So did you know that he said you and he as in Keith? So, so he was talking about Lucas because he wasn't saying he as Keith, he was saying you. He was talking Lucas.
No, I didn't pay attention to any of that.
So that was like another way he was messing with Lucas. And then Brooke is in the guidance counselor's office. So I didn't like how they kept going back and forth with just like one character. Like if they went just like, separate scenes with each character, but didn't keep going back to that same character, that's what annoyed me.
Well, just finish their whole thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, yeah.
Yeah, because when you meet with the guidance counselor, it's only one thing. It's not, you're not like, oh, I'm coming back in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
That was annoying because it's like they get one word and then boom, nope, another person. It's like, and then we're going back to this. That's why I didn't like all the back and forth. It was annoying.
Yeah.
But Brooke was funny in hers.
Yeah. Yeah, so she talks to Brooke because she's confused why she's there and, has to explain why she's there to help her decide which college is best for her. Then we segue to Peyton visiting the counselor, who says she doubts she'll even go to college and tells the counselor that she's wasting her breath. And then we segue against the station where the cop tells Keith he's wasting his time. Then asks why does he think his brother would accuse him of trying to kill him.
And then he goes, maybe he's still mad at me for sleeping with his wife.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And then we go to Nathan talking to the counselor.
About your wife.
Yeah. Another segue. Going to factor, if his wife is going to factor into his choice.
So he goes, that's none of your business. It's
yeah.
like, but for the guidance counselor to be like, so about your wife, it's like, which is weird because it's his time to talk.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like bringing in someone else but your decision. I don't know. It's just kind of weird.
Yeah.
Like this is high school and you're bringing up, like that's something that they should be talking about alone.
Yeah.
You should be encouraging him to go where he wants to go.
Mm-hmm.
You should encourage her to go where she wants to go. And then they have to deal with it.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be like, so how about your wife? Like, is this session about her? Like, I agree with him when he said that's none of your business because the session is about him, not her. You had time to talk to her, right?
Right.
And that's it. The only thing you should be doing is encouraging him to go. Not, what's Haley doing? Well, go ask her.
Mm-hmm. And then he kind of sounded like Dan because he said
the whole thing you was seeming like Dan.
Yeah, he doesn't go to them. And then we go to the station again where the cop asks Keith why did he come.
Oh my God, this made me bust out laughing because the cop was like, why'd you come back to Tree Hill? And he goes, because that's where I live.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That's when I busted out laughing.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I mean. Just watching Keith was funny.
Right. Yeah. And the counselor asks if Lucas wants to stay close to home. He says probably because he can't afford to go to college out of state. Then we go back to the station where the cop tells Keith he's not going anywhere until they sort this out. And Keith says he just wants to talk to his brother.
And he goes, come on, Danny, and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and then he comes on and goes, you ready to confess? Mm-hmm. And then he goes, yeah, I confess. I bought liquor.
Yeah, he was so thirsty.
I was just so thirsty, yeah.
Mhm.
And he goes, I'm sorry, Dan.
Yeah, actually, he didn't forgive him.
And he goes, you think this is funny?
Yeah.
It is
Yeah,
funny.
Keith laughs.
Yeah.
So this makes Dan grab him by his shirt, yelling at him to stop smiling, and pushes him against the wall. Because Keith knew that that's what would happen if he kept, pulling at his, or not pulling, pushing his buttons like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then the cop tries pulling Dan off of Keith, but Keith is still smiling like he's from the Smile movie. And then Keith sarcastically says, "Help, police!" and walks out. And then with Peyton in the counselor's office, she says she doesn't get the point of college. The counselor says the point is to find something you love and hopefully make a career out of it. She asks Peyton what makes her happy, and Peyton says music, she guesses. And then Payne at home is on the phone saying everyone loves their stuff and thinks it would be a good opportunity for them, but gets a no and crosses him off the board. And but it's actually Brooke that was on the phone because she keeps having new ideas for her fashion, for the fashion show, and but she didn't think she would hear from her again since her and Lucas have stopped being a non-exclusive. Crap, she says. And Ellie.
Yeah, she's
Ellie,
like, what is that?
yeah.
And she goes, friends with benefits.
Mm-hmm.
And then I liked when Ellie said, isn't that just sleeping around? Because honestly, it is. Because you can sleep with your friend, but then you sleep with other people if you want.
Yeah, well, sometimes it's just the one person, though. Depends.
Yeah, but a lot of times that it's just stupid. Because, yeah, you're not just seeing that person, because otherwise you'd be dating. So
Right.
I agree with Ellie. It's just stupid. Like it's the new kids version. Like the um like kids that were like teenagers in the 90s and early 2000s kind of thing.
Right.
The friends with benefits.
And then Ellie asks Peyton about her. Does she have any beneficial friends?
Yeah, she talks about dating Nathan. They were just basically more benefits than friends. And then she brings up Jake.
Yeah.
And then she goes, "Were you in love with him?"
Yeah, and
But she kind of said she was.
yeah, she just nodded her head yes, and Ellie says that's the hard part. Sex is easy, but if you find someone you're in love with who's also your friend, that would be the greatest benefit. And Payne says she guesses that's the fairy tale, and Ellie says there's nothing wrong with fairy tales, and everyone ends up happily ever after. But she never said the name Jake. She just said another person, another guy. So you think it was about Jake, or it could have been about Lucas? Who knows? But
I thought she said Jake.
no, it's just another guy. She said.
Mm.
And then we go back to Haley in the counselor's office. She says when she was little, her parents took her and her siblings to California.
Okay, so this was weird. She said she was 8. How old is Quinn compared to Haley? How old? Because Taylor and Haley are 3-4 years apart.
Yeah,
3 years.
She's a senior when she's a freshman.
So Quinn is
maybe 2 years older than Taylor.
Okay. Haley was 8 when she went to California.
Oh, that would make.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
she was what,
13.
like 13 when they took her to colleges.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't, because again,
not 10 years.
Well, again, we're supposed to believe she has. Remember the sister Vivian and all these other siblings. We're supposed to believe she has all these siblings, and I think that's what they were gearing towards is like maybe Vivian and maybe this one and that one. But it's like when we only realize she only has 2 sisters and that's it. Doesn't make any sense now to like rewatch this and she was 8. It's like it would have been better if she was like 10. But the fact that she was 8.
Right.
I mean, even 10 was too little.
Yeah, they messed themselves up on that one.
Because watching them back now, it's actually pretty stupid.
Yeah, so Haley just said she was, fell in love with it because it was so different from Tree Hill. And she thought to herself, wow, this must be what the world is like. And she just wanted to be there ever since.
And then, where does your husband want to? Again, stop bringing each other into this, lady.
And that's when we go to the next scene where Haley gives Nathan his envelope from Duke University. She guesses they thought that, he still lived in an apartment, she commented. But she says that the college is exactly 2,798 miles away from her dream college. So, I don't know why she was so surprised because they never had all these conversations before. They never talked about kids.
They didn't talk
They
about
never talked about
anything.
college. Yeah, so
I don't know why they jumped into marriage.
yeah, so
Look how well it turned out.
yeah, she shouldn't be shocked that his college is so far away from hers. So she sits down with him and tells him that she said some things last night. He says he did too.
Okay, this is my problem is when did they talk? Again, when it comes to these two, I want to know every interaction because they're supposedly getting back together. So it's like, because remember when it cut out to them just talking? I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to hear the full thing.
Right.
Like, what did they say? Because wouldn't he have apologized then?
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't make any sense that now they're both going to apologize. I'm like, okay.
Right. And then in the counselor's office, Nathan says he didn't realize he was supposed to figure out his future today. She says for him to be at least thinking about it. And
It kind of already sounds like Nathan already figured it out.
right.
So I don't even know why he's saying I have to figure out today.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like you and your daddy already figured it out.
Yeah, they explain that later in the many other flashbacks before this.
Yeah, but I don't even know why he said that part because
Mm-hmm.
he's already figured it out,
Mm-hmm.
apparently.
Yeah, he even says in this scene here that he's been thinking about it since he could shoot a basketball.
Yeah.
And at the station, the cop tells Dan that the arrest was a favor, because he's the mayor. But without anything solid, they can't hold Keith, so the only charges he could bring would be against him.
I
Dan.
know. I love that part when he said that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the only one we can get is you. And then Dan goes, "Can I fire you?"
Yeah.
And he goes, "No."
Mm-hmm. So then Keith walks up to the two-way window and says it was good to see him, Dan.
Yeah, can we visit?
Can come visit the place,
Yeah,
place,
for Christmas.
And then Haley is saying Stanford is her dream school. It's where she wanted to go since she played pretend SATs. Lucas says she forgot how much of a nerd she was. I'm sorry, she's in the counselor's office. She's talking to Lucas. And then, so Lucas said that he forgot how much of a nerd she was. And then Haley says she doesn't feel like picking a college as much as she feels like she's picking the future. Lucas says she didn't, she's the kind to pick a future, like kind of when she picked a future with Nathan when she married him and she tells him to watch it. So then Haley then asks him if he's doing alright. Lucas says he's fine and asks her why she's asking, and she explains that she had that dream about having a heart attack and he's buying his medicine and doesn't need to borrow money right now. Right? And he says he's fine, but thanks for being concerned.
I like when Brooke walks up.
Yeah.
And then she calls Haley Bailey.
Yeah. Because, Haley told her about her dreams and she said she's never telling her anything again. And then Brooke mentions what's up with the meeting today. College is a million years away. And then Haley says her 3,000 miles and walks away. So Lucas explains to Brooke that Haley just realized that she and Nathan want to go to colleges that are across the country from each other. And Brooke asks if isn't that sort of a thing that couples talk about? And Lucas says it is. So
And then he asks her what she's doing, yeah. So this is, then she brings up about she'd marry a millionaire and stuff. And, again, that was her season 1, Brooke.
Mm-hmm. And then she asks, where Lucas is on that. And then we switch to Lucas in the counselor's office asking how's the fashion institutes at the basketball school, or team at the fashion school. And then Brooke asks the opposite of that by saying, is there a good fashion program at basketball school?
Yeah, that was stupid. I'm like, Brooke, how stupid are you?
I mean, I think it was more stupid for Lucas to say that, but,
What?
About if there's a good basketball team at the Fashion Institute.
No, but the fact that she called it basketball school.
Yeah, I'm just saying that it was,
That's all I heard, and I was like, really?
Yeah.
No, I could see what he was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I just couldn't understand what she meant by basketball school.
Right. And then Mouth is waiting in the hallway for his meeting with the counselor when Rachel walks up and tells him that Principal Turner wants to see him. And then they're walking, and Rachel says, she doesn't think he did anything wrong, and Mouth asks what he say he wants. Rachel
I don't like that she pulled him away from the guidance counselor.
Yeah, me too.
Because you don't look like you care.
Mm-hmm.
Then again, I don't care about the episode, but I'm just saying, for him.
Yeah.
But again, doesn't he... He already knows where he wants to go to. This is also stupid. Because we find out in a few episodes that he and Jimmy already planned where they were going to go. So it doesn't even make any sense.
Mm-hmm. And then Rachel says that Turner said nothing because he didn't send her. She just needs his help. And, Mouth mentions about his meeting with the counselor, so it's not a good time. And Rachel asks him, why would he want to let some burnout in a dead end job tell him where to go to college? Because college obviously didn't work for her. And then to mess with her, Mel tells Rachel that the burnout is his mom. She has a moment where she feels bad, and then Mel says, "See, I can joke too." But he has to go back. And Rachel just says that, to catch a counselor on her lunch hour at the soup kitchen if she needs his help. And just as Rachel pulls him away, the counselor calls Mel's name in the hallway, but of course she doesn't see him there. And then Keith finally gets out of the station. Karen greets him with a hug.
He's still joking.
Yeah. And he says Tree Hill isn't exactly Antica, if I said that right. Because that was apparently a prison in New York where there was a huge riot in 1971 where 43 people died. So, and Keith tells Karen she didn't have to wait. She tells him that he can't let Dan get away with this. They should sue him or call the news. And then he says, go out, and the Ravens are playing tomorrow. So he was thinking that maybe they should go together. And Karen asks if he's asking her on a date, and she brings up that Dan is trying to convict him of murder, and he says he didn't kill anyone. Dan is just trying to rattle him. Besides, nothing would make him happier than taking her out. And Karen says she would love to go, but for the record, she'll be doing it for the first reason, and he says the second reason will be just a bonus. And then back with Brooke in the counselor's office.
So, yeah, she's interested in fashion, but she said that, she brings up all the stuff that she is doing, like student council president, captain of the cheerleaders, founder of DW.I. And then she talked about being Lucas's girlfriend, like seriously.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's when she talks about having cheer practice.
Right. And then in the courtyard at school, Mouth is leading the girls for the movements. Just then Brooke walks up.
Yeah. So when she was like, "What are you guys doing?" and stuff, they're like, "Well, you're late." And then I liked when she told Brooke and Haley, like, "Where do you think I was?"
Yeah.
They're like, "Just being late." Like, but if she's captain, she's not gonna be late.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, I agree that they're in the wrong. Mm-hmm. And that's when Rachel tells her that she won't even be there because of the fashion show thing.
Yeah.
And that's why I said last episode that, of course, Rachel has something up her sleeve because she's not going to just do that for Brooke.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Brooke was also mad that Rachel was using Mouth to help them with their cheer moves. And, Rachel just saying because he helped them last year.
Yeah.
And then, they go at each other. And, Brooke says that she's a captain, so she's in charge of everything. And then, yeah, so I'm kind of surprised that Brooke didn't realize about them being the same weekend when she got the road folk envelope.
Yeah, because when that weekend is for your cheer.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, Brooke not being very smart.
Yeah. And, like, everyone else is looking at Brooke, too. She did that on purpose and not Rachel. So I didn't like that.
Well, and what I didn't like was then she walked off. Her two friends didn't walk off with her. Yeah. I'm like, you're going to stay with Rachel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
like, let's be honest. Haley and Peyton do not care about cheer at all. Mm-hmm. So why wouldn't they follow her?
Right.
Like, okay, I'm going to miss the routine. I don't care.
And then Brooke realizes now, why Rachel submitted her designs.
Yeah.
And back in the counselor's office, Lucas says he could probably get some academic scholarship, but he's hoping to still play basketball. He's not ready to give it up. And at this point, we see Lucas at the river court, and that's when Keith says in jail, because he comes walking up, a shot like that would make him somebody's girlfriend, and Lucas responds back that he know. He tells Lucas, or Keith, that he was worried about him.
I like that he told Lucas that, you're just, you're a kid, shouldn't have to worry about any of this.
Yeah. Then Lucas says since he realized if he gets a basketball scholarship, his mom wouldn't have to worry, And Keith says that Karen likes to worry about Lucas, and Lucas says he doesn't want her to. College is expensive, and Keith says that they'll manage. They always have, and Lucas points out that he said we. And then Keith mentions that he asks Karen out on a date. He hopes that's okay with Lucas, and of course Lucas thinks that's great. And after what his mom said, and Keith says that it's funny because he has to ask him the question since his track record with his mom is about as bad as the Ravens. And he tells Lucas to do him a favor, win tomorrow night. He was going to say score, but he didn't think that was appropriate. And Mouth goes to see Brooke at the apartment. Brooke tells him to come in, but he has he seen her friend Mouth looks just like him, only has a skin attached to his head.
So this is where she says like she's only using them because basically you can't get Rachel, and that's when they have that fight.
Yeah.
And, he's really mad at her, which
Mhm.
she's in the wrong.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
hmm And then, oh, and then she mentioned Gigi too, like to hang out with Gigi, not Rachel. But she
Mhm.
got Gigi the raisin girl. I don't know where they got that from. I
Me
haven't
either.
seen her eat raisins, so that maybe that was
We
their
only saw
routine.
her like
Yeah,
once.
so that was random, but
And I think it's like, what, my kind?
yeah. And then Brooke tries to explain, but then he walks out.
I would too.
hmm
Oh, I did like when before he left. He goes, why do you have more furniture for me to move?
Right, yeah. And then the guidance counselor's office, she asks Brooks, about her parents. Aren't they around? And she says no, but that's not unusual for Tree Hill, which is very true. And they should have milk cartons with missing parents on them.
So I like when she said, she isn't alone. She has her roommate, squad, friends. It was weird. She said, my Peyton, my Lucas.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
Because I get if she said her Lucas, but yeah, her Payne. And then Lucas says,
She's not really your Peyton. She's not even really around right now.
right. And then Lucas, goes to the apartment and says he got a little bit of everything because he didn't know what she wanted, food. And Brooke asks if there's a kick in the head in the bag because she, went all mean girl on Mouth. And that's when Lucas is shocked to hear that she was mean to Mouth, so there might be a kick in the bag after all. And then, Brooke explains that Mouth has been all buddy-buddy with that escort wannabe Rachel, who she found out only answered her in the rowboat because it's the same weekend as a classic. And Lucas tells her to do both, but she can't. She needs him to help her decide.
I like when he said just do both.
Yeah.
And then that's when she realized she can go on a plane. You didn't.
Mm-hmm.
How else were you gonna get there? That's what.
I know, that's what I was thinking too. Like, why didn't she, was she gonna drive there? Like,
Apparently.
and then, that would be my first thought. If they're on different days, and I was like, I could just fly, to, a whole 24-hour thing, but yeah, I don't know. Brooke just isn't really thinking too much in this episode. And then, yeah, so Brooke's all excited now because now it seems possible. And then she said she could win 2 trophies and keep one in her dresser and shove the other one up Rachel's, but then we go to the next
Okay,
one.
we go up to. Yeah, the next one is cameras on Dan's ass.
Yeah, Dan can from the vending machine.
I know, but.
Yeah.
Because it's always transitioning.
Yeah, I don't know why they did that. Because you think that'd be, it was a segue, but, we didn't really need it.
No.
And then, that's when Haley walks up and he says, "Hey, Peyton. Oops, I mean Haley."
Yeah, and then he said, he goes, I guess I might call the next one Haley.
Yeah. She asked what he's doing there. He says for official mayor business, and he wouldn't want to bore her, so she starts walking away. And then he asks how his new song is coming along.
Yep, and then that's when he said that Nathan paid Chris.
Mm-hmm. And since he's paying Nathan's allowance for being such a good little boy, that was weird, it's kind of his. And she's still confused, so Nathan says, "You didn't know where the money was coming from, right?" And didn't Nathan, tell her about anything? And Haley says mostly they talk about how happy he is to be away from his dad. And Dan says that's not exactly the thank you he was expecting after dropping thousands of dollars in her career. So then she starts walking away.
Okay, no, it was weird because I'll see you in class.
Yeah.
What are you, a teacher?
Yeah.
And
she didn't question it either when he said it.
No. And then she went right up to Nathan and confronted him.
Mm-hmm.
And then he goes and confronts Dan. I was like, what?
Yeah. Well, I didn't like how he didn't even give her an answer at first. He said, "Good morning to you too,"
Yeah, but I just thought it was.
Yeah.
But Nathan eventually was going to come out, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it felt like this kind of situation was kind of like the organ that he bought without, telling her. And except it's just worse because Chris is involved this time.
Yeah, but he also forced her basically to work with him.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
And he was paying him.
Yeah. She says that it was nice, but he went behind her back, and I feel like something Dan would do. And of course, Dan himself is down the hallway, and Nathan's looking at him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I did like when Nathan was like, "What are you even doing here?"
Mm-hmm.
And it was weird because he said he's gonna make a speech and stuff, but he acts like he's a teacher.
Right.
I'm like, if you're only making a speech, you're only a guest.
Mm-hmm. And then I thought it was funny too how Nathan said, "Does he have to change the locks in the school now, like he did with the house?" As a little callback. And that's when Dan said that he's the mayor, so he has the keys to the city. And apparently Principal Turner had asked him to speak to his political science class. So, I feel like that was more of Dan like talking to Principal Turner because there's no way Principal Turner would ask the mayor who has no, education to teach a class, to do this.
And he was mayor for a day.
Even though Whitey's teaching every odd class already, but um, yeah. Then in the hallway, Dan asks where Nathan's going. He's
I liked when he said that I've heard you speak. It's a waste of time.
Yeah. And then Dan like gave Haley a creepy look from down the hallway, like that. And then back with Peyton in the guidance counselor's office, who asks her if she's talked to her parents about college. So then Payne explains that her birth mom is the only one that's around.
But she didn't go to college, so.
Yeah. And the counselor asks, what did Ellie do after high school? And that's when we segue to Ellie.
Saying drugs?
Yeah, at Payne's house. That was funny. And then Payne tells her she didn't go to college and she's doing fine.
So this is where they talk about it, and then she wants her to go.
Yeah, just because, she doesn't have to live paycheck to paycheck like her. But, it doesn't matter even if you go to college, so that's still a very possibility.
Well, and it's Ellie's choice to, go to different towns and stuff. That's her own life. That's what she chose.
Yeah.
You can still stay in one town. Mm-hmm. That's why I don't like that they were just pressuring college. Mm-hmm. But that's what they all do.
Yeah. And then Ellie, for some reason, assumed that Payne would actually go to college. And then, like I said, about how she doesn't understand that people who had the chance to go choose not to. Yeah. And Payne says, why waste 4 years when you could be living life? Ellie says, what's the rush?
It was weird because she said, I heard it was fun. And I'm like...
Like what, partying or...
Okay, so you spend money for... It was Dawson's Creek. The only one who cared about college was Joey. Everybody else just wanted to party.
Yeah.
Waste of time. And money.
Yeah. And then Ellie says she sees her majoring in art of music or business. And Payne asks if she can see all that with look at the tarot cards.
Peyton had such an attitude towards Ellie. Ellie was just trying to help her. Not that I agree with what she was doing, but every time she would say something, it was just so snotty. I was like, oh my God. Right. Like, Ellie was finally being a parent, and I didn't like the way Peyton was saying everything.
Yeah, she could just, change the subject and be like, can we, talk about the album or something like that? Yeah. Because
then she was like, oh, what? Oh, I'm late, because you're late for cheerleading, and oh, well, I guess you're right. And just everything she was saying, I was like, oh my God.
And then that's when she grabs the whiteboard and asks if she has a, title for the album. And Ellie says, hopefully something better than the album, or this album. And Payne says it's grown at her. And then Ellie,
That's what I mean, all the attitude.
Yeah. And then Ellie tells her to have fun with cheerleading, but don't benefit any friends and do good cheering. And then she said she's starting to doubt her powers because she never would have seen her as a cheerleader.
Then she said her mom was.
And then Lucas is in the counselor's office saying that he just wants his mom to stop worrying about him and enjoy life. She deserves that much. And then we see Lucas go into his mom's room while she's getting ready.
Weird.
What?
He's going into his mom's room.
I mean, she was dressed and everything, so.
I don't know.
Because she's nervous and, asking if she looks good. And it was funny because he was, joking with her, saying, is she ready? Because he's the most popular kid in school. And, she keeps asking how she looks, and he says it's fine. She's fine all the time, so he asks her. And jokes about, the time before that, and he says so.
It's weird that these two are just so nervous. I was kind of over that, too.
Yeah, well, it's like a first official date between Karen and Keith.
Yeah, well, they've known each other forever.
I know, but, this is a whole different situation that, and, path that they're going down, so it can be nerve-wracking. So, whether you know the person or not already. Yeah. And then, Lucas is messing around again, saying, does he want her to talk? Does she want him to talk to Keith, make sure his intentions are honorable?
I mean, the only date they're going on is to the game, for crying out loud. It's not like they're actually going on they went to the game plenty of times together. That's my promise. They're not even going out to dinner.
Yeah.
They're going to the game.
Yeah.
That other people are around if it gets boring.
Yeah. And they can't even, talk to each other either.
No, that's why I don't even know why they're nervous.
Yeah, the break. Yeah, so, he says he'll be joining them for dinner afterwards.
And that's the thing. They're not even going to dinner afterwards alone.
Right. They're hanging out with Lucas. Mm-hmm.
They're hanging out with Lucas. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. They're not even going to dinner afterwards alone. Right. They're hanging out with Lucas. Right. They're hanging out with Lucas. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. They're not even going to dinner afterwards alone. They're hanging out with Lucas.
And then, Lucas keeps messing around, saying, like, things are getting serious, bringing him home to meet the family. And she says enough. And then she answers the door, and she says that he looks, and he says she looks, too, which is funny. And they walk to the car. Karen admits she was nervous. Keith says he was too, even changed his shirt 3 times just to realize he only has 3 shirts. And then they get to his car. Karen is impressed. It's his dream car. He says,
Doesn't
what?
Lucas drives his car later?
When?
Season 5.
Exactly when?
Oh, this red one when he's going to pick up Karen. This is the one he lets Jamie drive.
Oh.
Because I'm like, I've seen that car before, and I went,
Yeah.
Season 5.
Yeah, so then I guess Keith must have, just without us seeing or hearing about it, said, like, Lucas can get the car if something happens to me or something.
Well, who else would get it?
Yeah, I don't know. And then, yeah, so he says that, he's decided lately that he's going to do less talking and more doing, which is good because we know things are coming to an end for him. So at least that is dream car for a little while.
Things are coming to an end.
Well, I don't know how else to say it because we all know what happens.
4 more episodes. Things are coming to an end.
Yeah, well, we all know what happens. And the next scene, the counselor asks why, why don't you...
Oh, by the way, that's why it's weird that they're just not going on a date because just a few episodes. Mm-hmm. It's like, wow, things really happen in a couple episodes.
Yeah, second time they start doing this, something bad happens. First it was car accident, and now it's this. And then, yeah. So
no, I'm saying other things.
What do you mean?
Lily.
Oh, yeah.
Like, things happen real fast on a couple episodes.
Oh, yeah. And then, yeah, so Brooke explains that college freaks her out. Just like, she likes high school, she's good at it. And she knows who her friends are, and enemy is. She's got the place down. And then outside of school, Brooke walks up to Rachel to ask what Rogue Vogue.
I did not like this scene.
Why?
Because in order to go up against your enemy, you don't tell the enemy what you know now.
Right, yeah.
And you don't tell her your plans. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So the fact that she I was like, why? Mm-hmm. So that she knows now to go one step ahead of you again? Yeah. Don't ever do that. Mm-hmm. I didn't like it. I was like, Brooke, shut up.
Right. Yeah, she could have, well, we didn't see Brooke get anything from the show, but,
No, but it would have been better for Brooke if she would have shown up at the cheer thing and Rachel would have been shocked. But now Rachel knows she's going to be showing up to sabotage it.
Yeah. Because which one's first, the classic or the fashion show?
I thought the fashion show was first.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, we don't see Brooke win anything from the show, the contest.
Because remember, she comes back.
Yeah, right. And they're
in Peyton's and Lucas's room.
Right, yeah.
Set up by Rachel because she knew she was coming.
Right.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
If she would not have done that, if she didn't know Brooke was coming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I was saying, if Brooke had won like some ribbon, they probably don't care about ribbons there, but if she brought something back with her from the fashion show, that would have been a good like thing in Rachel's face, like, hi, I won anyways, and I won this. That could have been something they did, but yeah. So she says for her to try harder next time to sabotage things for her, and she'll be taking it back to see if I guess that she's used to it. And that's when Mouth walks up, and he says nothing but walks past Brooke. And Rachel catches up to him, and Brooke is left sad, that a friend has chosen to still hang out with Rachel because he's still hurt and everything. And at the gym, Keith walks out telling Whitey that the gym's nearly as old as he is. And Whitey says, yeah, but he looks better. And Keith asks if Whitey's going to win one for them. And Whitey says that depends if he's going to stick around. And Keith says he will. And then that's when the counselor says that your basketball career could end just like that. You need to think about your education too, to Nathan. He says she doesn't get it without basketball. He's not going to have an education. He's not going to stay in college based on his grades. Basketball is all he has. And then the girls walk in, and Brooke says the gym is disgusting. She can actually see the germs in the air. And just then, Dan shoves.
Yeah, this was funny because that's your.
Yeah,
that's
right
the germ in there.
Mm-hmm. Right between them to get past them. And Payne says, "Yeah, me too," because he's a germ. And then Dan walks up to Nathan and says he has good news.
He goes, "What? I'm adopted?"
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good line. I feel like that's one of the ones that everybody remembers.
Yeah, but he said that in season 1.
Oh yeah, just this time was more funnier.
It was funny then too.
Yeah. And he says, the scouts here, and it seems like his phone calls paid off. And Nathan tells Dan.
I like when he said that.
Yeah.
It's because of me.
Right, not him. Yeah. So you can't own this one. And then Gigi and Mouth are at their table
Oh my
to be
god,
the announcers.
Gigi.
Mm-hmm. And again, she's 14, so this will forever be creepy because she says that the Ravens have stripped out of their street clothes and put on tight shorts that caresses their firm buttocks and we're ready to get underway. And Mouth is just like looking at her like, why the hell are you saying that?
But then he goes, man, that was good.
Yeah. I'm surprised she hasn't like gotten like fired or somebody removes her.
I'm surprised he just hasn't unplugged her mic.
Yeah.
And then she can still act like she's talking.
Yeah, because it was funny. So before she was saying nothing, and now she's saying the most inappropriate things. So he probably wishes she was quiet again. And the team is in a huddle as Whitey talks to the team, saying if they want to go back to playing in a gym that doesn't smell like moldy cheese, then go out there and win the game.
And then he pulls Nathan out.
Yeah, because he skipped class, and then Nathan explains that his dad was there, so that's why he didn't go. And
then he talks about that, the scout is there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but he's
Whitey doesn't care.
Yeah, no exceptions. And Haley and Dan see what's happening, and Lucas too when Nathan sits down. And then we go to Lucas in the counselor's office. She asks what if basketball doesn't work out, and Lucas laughs and says he doesn't expect it to, which I think that was like a foreshadowing because we know it doesn't. But if it can help him get into a good college and help his mom at the same time, he's going to throw everything at it. And then the game starts. Lucas makes a basket. Everyone cheers for him. At the sidelines, Dan gives Whitey a piece of advice and calls him Gramps, saying most coaches play their leading scorers. It helps them win. And Whitey says,
it was funny because the mayor's talking to me?
Mm-hmm.
What an honor.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's like always Keith and Whitey to talk like this to Dan, which is funny. And then Mouth announces that the end of the first half is over. The Ravens are a close one with 37-34.
I don't know how.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess Nathan really isn't important.
Mm-hmm. And then
even though for 3 seasons that's all we've heard.
Yeah, and then he sees Brooke, so he goes off to talk to her. But then at the sidelines, Lucas goes to talk to Whitey, about Nathan, saying that he has to play, and basically says what Nathan said about him skipping class and why he did it. But I thought it was funny how Whitey said like don't talk to him unless it's about his brother Ferris Bueller, in the movie, and then Whitey tells Lucas that it's not his place to defend him.
And then he said, "Yeah, you made me co-captain."
Yeah. Nathan is his teammate, and the team meets him. And Whitey says he appreciates his concern,
but you gotta win without him, I guess.
Yeah. And then Brooke
Lucas couldn't even keep up in practice.
Right.
All of a sudden, he is now Nathan? What? He couldn't even run like they were. Yeah. I don't understand this.
Right.
With or without your medication, you shouldn't be running like this.
Mm-hmm.
And playing this good?
Yeah.
No. Plus, we all know Lucas misses baskets. All of a sudden, he's making them all?
Right. And then Brooke ends up in the boys' bathroom to talk to Mouth alone. Mouth questions if he's in the girls' bathroom now. But then Brooke says to him that she's sorry. She didn't mean to hurt him. She just meant like a guy like him, one of her best friends. And she was just trying to protect him from one of her unbest friends. And Mouth says it's okay. She asks if she can make it up to him, like hang out tonight. But, he has plans with Rachel. She can figure that out. And, he says that he would invite Brooke, but, Rachel, that wouldn't be good. And she just tells him to be careful with her. And she gives him a wink as she goes to leave the bathroom as guys walk in that aren't even phased that she's there. Did you notice that? Like, 3 of them walked in, and they didn't, give her, a second look that she was in there. But anyways, outside the school, Dan introduces himself to the
Now, this was funny.
Mm-hmm.
Cause, okay, what I can't figure out is the scout. Because, Dan says that he's Nathan's father. And then when he talks about Lucas, or no, this was after. No, he said Lucas was playing well. He doesn't realize that Lucas is Dan's kid.
I guess if he's out of town person.
Because at the end, though, Lucas says, I want you to meet my brother, Nathan.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't
It's just
know.
kind of weird.
I mean, I mean, the odds are, but
They have the same last name.
yeah. I mean, some people who have the same last name as you aren't related to you, but in this case, they definitely are. Um,
Yeah, but the scout wasn't really like surprised at the end when he said, meet my brother, Nathan. It wasn't like, oh, that's your brother?
maybe then he knew Dan only like claimed Nathan, so that was like his only son basically. So
That's why I thought it was weird because I'm like, okay, the scout doesn't know that.
Yeah, because I mean, David, the scout, did actually mention Lucas first, so I think he did know that Lucas was his son. I don't know. But then, Keith walks up.
Yeah, and he goes, I'm his uncle.
Mm-hmm.
And Dan is just like, I'm going to kill you.
Mm-hmm. I like how Keith, like, took the attention away from him and, like, put it on Lucas, because Nathan was trying, Dan was trying to, like, get Nathan all, in with the scout, and now Keith just walks in, kind of takes it away from him, so that was good.
Mm-hmm.
And then Karen walks up now and stands close to Keith, so Dan, figures it out and says that they both could do better. And Karen says, God knows.
I did worse.
Yeah. And they start walking towards the doors until Dan says to Keith that he wouldn't leave town if he was him. And Keith says he's not going anywhere. He wouldn't dream of it. But sadly, we know that that's not what he really wants. In the back of the game, the Ravens are doing well, but Nathan has anxiety knowing he's missing his chance to impress the scout. And then we hear Haley says, I do, go on without him. Do I go on without him? Do I beg him to come with me? Follow him wherever he goes. The counselor, I don't think you don't even realize how much you love something until you have to give it up.
She already did that.
Yeah. And at the game again, Lucas makes a basket. Brooke asks what Lucas is on, like it's turning her on. But he's playing great. And Haley says, or not, because maybe he's not taking his pills, I'm thinking. He stopped taking his pills by this point, and that's probably why, that's why he's playing better now, because he's off his meds.
Yeah, but I feel like if you stop taking them,
yeah, there's heart's at risk.
Yeah, and it's working extra hard, and you would be like dizzy and stuff. I feel like the fact that he's still playing perfectly fine is suspicious.
Mm-hmm. And then Mouth announces the game is in the fourth quarter now, with only 9 seconds left in the game. And then they have a little, what's it called, like a little team talk. I don't know what they're called.
Huddle?
Yeah. Well, that's what I said before, but there's no word for it. What he tells them to take a good hard look, because once in a while you have to ask yourself, they got to this place, it's 0-2, playing in this crummy sweatbox of a gym. And he tells them that, they got out there by playing selfishly and losing, but for the next 9 seconds, if they change the first thing, they'll change the second. Dan and Nathan look at each other, and the counselor asks Nathan if his dad went to Duke, and Nathan says no.
I like when he said I'm better than him.
Yeah. I mean, we do know that Dan did go to college, but they never mentioned which one, so who knows?
No. But I did like that Lucas, or Nathan, told him about the dead spot that they're talking about in the gym. But why didn't Lucas know that? He's the one that told Nathan about it. Just last episode.
Yeah, I guess he forgot it until now.
How? That's all he talked about when he was cleaning. And then he talked about the river course. I don't even know why he would forget that part. Because it's not like Nathan found it.
Right. And then, so he does what Nathan says and makes the winning basket.
Again, cheated. Because if they were on someone else's home turf, he wouldn't have.
Right. And in the counseling office, Lucas says he never would have joined the basketball team if it wasn't for his Uncle Keith. He wanted him to be a part of something to feel like he belongs. And then at the game again, everyone is cheering about the win. The team is carrying Lucas. Dan and Nathan look at each other until Nathan walks over to the team. And then the counselor tells Lucas it sounds like Keith really cares about him, and Lucas says he's like a father to him. And then after the game, Brooke walks over to Lucas and tells him if he keeps playing like that, he might have a chance with the captain and the cheerleaders. And then Lucas asks, really? She said something, and Brooke says, yeah. She said this and kisses him, and then asks if he's coming over tonight, so that's when he says he has plans with Keith and his mom. And Brooke asks what about after
Which is weird, because wouldn't you want them to have dinner alone?
Yeah.
Especially if you want them together.
Yeah. And then,
and also you have a girlfriend, so wouldn't you want to be with her?
Right. So, she says, how about after that? Because he doesn't want to be around them and be like a third wheel. Because what if they get freaky and Lucas, gets grossed out, saying that's his mom, then a visual he wants to have in his head. So that's when she says, for him to come over and she'll give him a better one and kisses him and tells him that to have, fun with his family. So it's sad they're just like framing this like Keith is his father figure and his mom, like they're like one little happy family because we know it's not gonna last for long. And then Nathan walks over.
You love saying that, don't you?
I know, it's just they keep making it obvious that this is
the next 3 episodes is like what I'm gonna hear from you.
This is like the one time that they're gonna be like this. So Nathan walks over asking Haley if she's okay. She says yeah, she's just worried about Lucas. And then I'm kind of surprised that Nathan didn't say like why are you worried about him, but instead they go about saying that he didn't play. So so she says that she knows he wanted to impress that scout. Nathan asks why. She doesn't think that she was impressed with his bench sitting skills, like he was impressed with it. And then Nathan says for her not to worry. That he's sorry. He was just like getting an answer for all the school stuff. It's just that if he tells her not to go to Stanford.
Again, weird. They didn't talk about it last year.
Yeah. It's like telling her not to follow her dreams again. If he tells her to go, he's saying he doesn't want to be with her. That's not what it would be, really. So what does she want to say?
Okay. Who should go to where?
They should go to their school that they want originally. Stanford and Duke.
But they're married.
Yeah.
Where should they go?
I don't know, because...
Well, you going to just separate them for 4 years?
I mean, I know some... Well, I don't know about them being married, but I know some couples do...
yeah, if they're dating, but they're married.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if they plan enough trips, I think they can make it work to see each other. I mean, if, Nathan has that allowance from Dan, he could have the money to see Haley, at least.
No. I think she should go where he goes.
Okay.
The reason is because he is planning on going pro. Mm-hmm. She can go to any college and get a degree.
Right.
Him, on the other hand, he has to go to certain colleges to become pro. Yeah. So his career choice is a little more
specific.
Yeah, than hers, because she can go anywhere. Because she's going to be a teacher, you can go anywhere. Mm-hmm. So I don't agree that she needs to go to Stanford. And also, you already did your dream, so let him have his.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he had more than one dream, but yeah.
Okay, but she's now going to be picky and go to Stanford? Mm-hmm. No. Yeah. You can go anywhere.
So she says for him just to say he loves her, and he says of course he does. And then we see David talking to Lucas. He tells Lucas he played a great game. And Lucas says thanks, but he had a lot of help. And that's when, about seeing it, talking to his brother. So he calls for Nathan to go over, and Haley gives him the look to go. And then Brooke in the counselor's office says she doesn't really like to think about college because that means it's over.
And everyone's going their separate ways.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then, but she mentioned that everybody will probably go play basketball or sing or start record labels. So when did she knew about Peyton doing that? Because they haven't talked lately.
Well, a lot of things happen off camera.
Yeah, so
like Nathan and Haley making up and not making up. I don't know.
Yeah, so that was weird. And then then she, present day, present time, she's watching Lucas leave with Karen and Keith as we hear her saying this.
That she'll be alone. Yep.
Yeah. And then Brooke, continues saying she'll have to start over alone. She's sure she'll be fine, but like she said, she doesn't like to think about it. And then we see Lucas and Karen and Keith at the cafe. Lucas is narrating. He says at the end of the day, he wants to be with his family and friends. He wants to play basketball and go to college. That's too much to ask, isn't it? He asks the counselor. And then we see Nathan tell her he's hard because the game is the only thing that's ever mattered to him.
Until Haley.
Yeah. And then Nathan goes to see Whitey in his office to talk to him about not playing tonight.
This was weird because he says that he wants Coach to call Stanford.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then Whitey again doesn't question it either. I mean, he
laughs.
Yeah. And so he starts to do that, and then Haley is in the counselor's office, and it's hard because before.
First of all, Nathan's gonna flunk out of Stanford.
Yeah. Well, maybe if Haley.
That was just what I was thinking the whole time. Yeah. Like, wait, Stanford's gonna let you in?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Haley said before she got married, she thought Stanford was her future, and then we see her make like a.
Okay, Rory barely could get into Stanford.
Right. I mean, I guess maybe saying she was on tour might impress them. I don't know. And then Yeah, she makes a pros and cons list for which college she should go
This was
to.
annoying because they both involve Nathan, so obviously that's your pick.
Yeah.
Duh.
Like that. Yeah, that's the only thing she wrote down. Yeah. Duke.
This was my promise. All this could have been cut in half.
Yeah.
I didn't need a whole episode.
Mm-hmm. And then she continues telling the counselor that all those different faces she remembers, all the different people, none of them were Nathan.
Mm-hmm.
And then Peyton gets home. Ellie asks how the game was because apparently she was there. And she didn't say anything to her because she was watching her do her thing.
So then she got to see Brooke.
Yeah. For the first time since they were
But
little.
not actually meet her.
Yeah. I guess, yeah, she's only seen her from afar when they were little with her, a lot of eyeshadow on her eyes and then the game. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then she says she did come up with the title and cover art for the album. It's Peyton as like an emo kind of angel with the
It's her drawing.
Yeah. Well, no, didn't Ellie draw that of Ellie? I mean, of Peyton.
Oh, yeah.
And then, but it is Peyton's, that heart in the corner that is Peyton's. And then there's even the breast cancer ribbon on her arm, and the title says "Friends with Benefit." I thought it should be "Friends with Benefits." Shouldn't that be grammar wise, or does that work still without the T? Just say benefit.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's a benefit for cancer.
Okay, that just confused me for a second.
That's what I took it as because it's for cancer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense.
And it's friends coming together.
Yeah. And then the counselor's office, Peyton says that she thinks she wants to study art and music and maybe business, which fits because we know she.
I like when she said so. Like what college is that?
Yeah, and then we don't get the answer, but
no.
Then we see Dan, Spider, Lucas, Karen, and Keith at the cafe across the street in his car. He looks sad, and then suddenly Keith knocks on the window. And then Dan rolls the window down.
Why is he so creepy? See, that's the thing is, I don't know what he's holding on to.
Keith?
Dan.
Oh, Dan.
Like, he hates...
I guess, I think he's, like, jealous that they have that little family dynamic, and...
Then he should have been nicer to Karen.
Yeah.
And then maybe those two would have been together.
Yeah, or dead, because she's AWOL now.
No, it seems like he's holding on to Karen. And it's like, if that was the case, you would have dumped Deb a long time ago, and you would have got back with Karen.
Yeah.
That's why it doesn't make any sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then...
Because before all this evil stuff you've done, she would have gone back with you.
Mm-hmm. And that makes sense, because Keith told him that...
Yeah, it's not your life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that was it.
So my high was Keith in jail. He was too funny.
Mm-hmm.
And then my low was all the college talk because again we know where everyone's going.
Yeah, that's my low too. And then I guess my high would be, I guess, just Ellie coming up with the title of the album and the cover art because it's really cool, and the whole thing is really good for breast cancer research. And then
my also low was the back and forth.
Yeah, definitely.
Just finish one scene and one person scene.
Right.
I couldn't pay attention to it. It was too much.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would rate this a 7. It probably should be lower, but I'm being nice.
Yeah, I'd say a 7 too.
And then who was your best and worst?
My best was I put this down, but I don't remember why I did it. I put Nathan for best. I mean,
what for?
I think it was because he gave Lucas I did this morning. I was tired. I think it's because he gave Lucas the tip, even though it didn't make sense why he did that to win the game. And like he said, he like owned up to like he should have been following the rules about not skipping class, so he deserved to be benched to Whitey, like kind of confessing that, admitting that. Yeah, just that. And then the worst is Dan because he's trying to sabotage Nathan and Haley's relationship just so he can like focus on basketball. But we all know that if he lost Haley again, that he wouldn't be able to focus on anything. And he was already acting bad with the gym, and then like saying like I'll just go to him, like kind of acting like he's entitled to that and everything like that. So that was like a Dan behavior. So yeah. And yours?
The worst was Dan.
Yeah.
I didn't like when he was talking to Karen and Lucas at the jail. I didn't like him talking to Keith in the jail. Like, he is annoying. And then, And then I picked the best was Keith because he was entertaining. And what's great is that he sent Dan away at the end.
Yeah.
And he got Dan to get physical with him in jail, which meant that they could only truly arrest Dan. So it was great.
Yeah.
It was like, you wanted me arrested? Well, guess what? They could arrest you.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the cop that's told him that, like, I can't keep Keith here because, you know.
He can leave.
Yeah, because I'm kind of surprised Dan didn't, like, give him money just to keep Keith there or something, you know?
Or blackmail him.
Yeah.
Dan loves doing that. Yeah. It was a waste of Keith's day.
What?
And it was a waste of Keith's day.
Yeah.
And I just love because he was just making a joke out of it because he knew they couldn't hold him.
Yeah, he was good.
I know. This sounds like I could have done the whole thing of him in jail.
Yeah, too bad I didn't see him at least in the cell once, like how he was doing.
Yeah, and just talking to somebody or something, or talking to the guard. Hey, I want some food.
Yeah, or can I get my one phone call?
Yeah, he'd have been funny. Listen, I could have just done a whole episode of him.
Yeah. They should have done at least a little bit of that and less with the back and forth with the kids.
I know. Less college, more Keith. Especially when we're not going to have him anymore.
Say that.
Yes.
Yeah. And then on Drama Queens, I heard that they said that the reason why Keith wasn't in here for a while was only because the creator or the writers or somebody, like the high-ups, wanted him to be like freshly shaved for his facial hair. Like they wanted him to look a certain way, but Craig didn't want that. So it was like a disagreement there. I don't know, but yeah.
What's the next episode?
Episode 13, The Winds That Blew My Heart Away. That sounds like something like a breakup or something's gonna happen. But
yeah. Bye-bye to somebody.
Yeah.
Even though it's nobody.
Yeah, we're getting into that.
Oh, wait. What is the name of that title? Episode 16.
It's 16. With tired eyes, tired minds, tired souls, we slept. So that's gonna be one of
Oh, dear God.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, so we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Duo Chat. If you want to chime in with your opinion about the episode and the show we discussed, you can email us at duochatpodcast@gmail.com. And to keep up with updates about the podcast, you can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and subscribe to our channel on YouTube at Duo Chat Podcast. And give us a review wherever you listen to podcasts. We would appreciate it.